Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of the Bold Take Podcast. Back from our little 2-week break from the show. I'm Austin Wader. You know that man next to me, Austin Hill. First time recording in the new house in Mayflower.
Yes.
How is it, man?
It's nice. Still, there are things to get unpacked, getting everything set up, but it's coming along nicely.
What I like to hear. Yeah, so we had a little hiatus. Number one, we helped get him moved and just need a week, get some stuff going on. I hear there's been a certain video game release that's been came out or something. I can't
Yeah,
think of
I
what it's
haven't
called.
touched it one bit.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you know by the official title of this episode, we're referring to College Football 26 came out this past week. And if you remember last year, we did our official reviews of College Football 25. So, we thought, let's bring it back. Our official College Football 26 review. We're going to let you know what we like, what we don't like, if it's worth your money. And of course, at the end, we're going to give our scale 0 to 100 as well. But before that, Austin, I want to throw a little curveball at you because I obviously,
Oh,
the day we're recording this right now, 4:47, the home run derby in the MLB is tonight. So I want to see if we can predict correctly from the future because this is obviously not coming out probably till the day after the home run derby. Who are you picking to win the home run derby tonight?
I'm taking Byron Buxton. I like the home run derby. I think it's a blast, and I do kind of enjoy the new rules. I think that made it more watchable for the average fan, maybe who just tunes in to see the big home runs. But the big thing about kind of the new structure that goes with the home run derby is your guys who are leading the league in home runs, your guys who are hitting a ton of home runs, and not to slander Byron Buxton, he's a power beast in himself. But your Cal rallies are going to burn out in the first round, especially if you get yourself in an opportunity where you need to get into a shootout in the first round. I think Byron Buxton is capable enough where he's not going to hit so many that he burns himself out, but he's got the power and he's got the ability to hit enough home runs each round to scrape by. And that way, when he comes against the heavy sluggers who have worn themselves out 2 or 3 rounds ago, I think he's going to have a big advantage.
All right. So for me, it's tough. There's a couple of guys I would consider. Um, but I'm gonna go with the fun wild card of the night. A guy who literally he's a young one of them, but he just hits the ball so freaking far. I'm gonna take the wild card O'Neal Cruz tonight.
I
That that's
like that.
that's mine with him. I there's a part of me that thinks, yes, has he been inconsistent? Yes, but I think the power he possesses, I mean, the bat speed to get out of there in a hurry is going to help him a lot, I think, with
Yeah.
that. So I'll go with him. Honestly, Cal Riley, if not him, my personal pick would probably be James Wood. I've loved James Wood this year for the Nationals. He's been one of the few
Yeah.
bright spots for that Nationals franchise. So that's probably be my pick.
So I'll say this. Have you been on MLB The Show at all recently?
Not within the last week, but I had been playing it before then.
Yeah, so this I got on a couple days ago. I like to get on and kind of mix it up. But for Diamond Dynasty, they have like prediction pack. And so you get to pick who you think's going to win. You also get to pick who you think's going to hit the most in a single round, and then who's going to hit the farthest home run. So just to add on to this, who do you think's going to hit the most in a single round? Who do you think's going to hit the farthest home run of the night?
I would probably lean maybe like Cal Raleigh in the very first round. I think that's something that probably could happen is he do really good early on and then I think kind of maybe bow out at the end. So I'd probably say him. If not him, maybe Matt Olson, probably. Matt Olson's probably where I would lean with that.
Yeah, as far as the most in a round, I'm with Cal Raleigh all the way. I'm absolutely with you 100%. I think he's going to be in a situation where he's going to hit a ton early and then kind of cool off as the evening goes. And for longest home run, I like O'Neal Cruz. Exactly what you're saying. Look, I don't know if he'll win it. He's definitely got the chance just as good as anybody else. But when he hits the ball, he hits it a mile, 100 miles, really. He drives the baseball. If O'Neal Cruz doesn't hit the longest home run of the night, I'll be looking silly. But I think it's almost no doubt he puts one further than anybody else does tonight.
So too. But that's our picks for that. This is coming out Tuesday, so who knows? We might be correctly have predicted this before.
Yeah.
Want to be known 4:51 on Monday, July 14th. We made these picks. But enough about that. Let's get to the main point of the episode. College football 26 has been out for a bit. There have been mixed opinions all around, but let's give you our opinions on it. Let's start with the one that everyone cares about first. What we started with last year, that was gameplay this year. And for me personally, gameplay still really fun. I really enjoyed it a lot. I will notice two things that they've done. Number one, it feels a tad bit slower, which is something I've noticed with it whenever it's first come out. It was something that bothered me at first, but once I got comfortable playing it, it didn't really bother me. And then second thing is the thing I like. Jump balls are actually fun to throw in this game. That is something that I've really enjoyed doing
Oh,
with that.
oh yeah. Look, I've been having a lot. I not that I wasn't having fun before with my dynasty. Don't want to rush into anything here, but yes, just where I'm at in my dynasty now, throwing jump balls has become just the secret to my offense. You're absolutely right. Look, we talked about the gameplay. The big thing I talked about coming into this was they were very open and honest. They were gonna completely rework the way interceptions worked by defensive players. You saw a lot of never getting the eyes on the ball from the corner and getting an interception. That's changed, and like you said, because of that, jump balls are so much more fun. You get a defensive back out of position, you put the ball up to a big receiver, he's going to go up and get it if that defender doesn't get himself turned around. So I think absolutely they really overhauled some of that deep passing and coverage and made the game feel a little bit more realistic. To me, I kind of like, I know not everybody likes this, but I noticed a substantial amount just by talking to you and talking to some other people who are playing the game right away, that there were a lot of safeties happening early in the game. And for some people, maybe they don't like that, but I feel like that's real to college football inexperience. Guys aren't always going to get the ball out. It's something that actually was a little bit frustrating for me just in other football games. Is look, guys don't always get the football out when they're getting grabbed in the end zone, or they don't always have the mindset to reach out and try and get to that 1 yard line. Sometimes it's just about not dropping the ball and turning into 6 points as opposed to the two. And so I like that. To me, it feels a little bit more realistic, kind of the way players react in certain situations. But yeah, overall, I love the new gameplay. And look, last year, a thing I was a big fan of was all the gadget plays and the trick plays. Something we love about college football is, all the different play styles, all the different formations. And this year, I've been having trouble like making or playing with custom playbooks. I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong or just something wrong with my console in general, but it feels like I'm always being suggested the same two plays no matter how I mess with the playbook. So I've played with a lot of different playbooks this year, and I've seen a lot of the different stuff that's in the game. And look, I was so impressed with the amount of plays, and for them to go and add, I don't know, I can't even remember the number. So many more plays though, and so many more formations to this game makes the game even more fun. I didn't love Notre Dame losing the national championship. But I will say this, Jeremiah Smith running that reload route and now getting a ton of plays with that reload route in the game, I think is so fun. I love plays with motion, and so getting that receiver to come in and then pop back out, and you got a fast receiver in the game. You've got to get some of those plays in your playbook. But yeah, I really love the gameplay. Like you said, maybe a little bit slower at first, but now I don't even notice the difference.
Whenever I played my first game, and you talked about the safeties, won my first game, Arkansas versus Missouri, courtesy of a safety. So shout out Missouri for letting me win on 2 points from that safety with 3 minutes left in the game. But I noticed it at first; it felt a bit slower. But again, as I got used to it over time, and I have with my Hawaii Dynasty, which don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we'll give updates on the Dynasty afterwards too. We know you're very much wanting updates on them. Once I got used to it, it was perfectly fine with me. And so, yeah, I would say gameplay definitely something that has continued to be good. Something that I haven't had. The only thing I've noticed glitch here and every now and then that I had, and I had it whenever I was playing with one of my friends. Sometimes I don't know what it is. They'll fix it in an update. Is you won't be able to snap the ball. Like you'll
Yes.
be at the line pressing A 1,500 times, nothing works. I learned how to cancel it out. I already forgot that. I'll have to go back and learn again. But so that's something that's a little bit annoying at times. The good news is I was winning at the time by like double digits, so it really didn't like, affect me that much. So I wouldn't say that much along those lines. But yeah, overall, I'd say gameplay is very good. Again, I think they made is it a little bit slower, yes, but the changes to defense and the secondary, the way the ball is played, I think kind of cancels it out and makes it really better for everyone. Because you were one of the people that I heard harp on this so much about. I want realism, and I don't want to see guys do this for an interception.
Yeah.
I want to see you got to have eyes on the ball and then go make a play on it. So absolutely. But let's get to the next section, Austin. And this is one that we've talked about that everyone was wanting to see a major upgrade from in this new one, and that's Road to Glory. Of course, last year's Road to Glory, I don't want to say was bare bones, but it was bare bones. I'll just leave it at that.
It was.
No high school in the game. Obviously, that's something new with the high school this year with the moments. I will say this really quick, and then you may have the floor, sir, and I'll follow up on it. I love adding the high school back into it. I think it's a huge dub. The scenarios, I think, are a better way to get through it. I just don't think the execution on the scenarios was right on the money with it in some ways. I get some of the scenarios, but there are times where it won't matter if I throw an interception on this drive. If I throw a 50-yard bomb, they're just going to not even pay attention to the bad interception I just threw in the game. Which, on a totally different note, do not play high school on Heisman difficulty. Holy cow, it is the most difficult thing I've done in my entire life. Trying to get a quarterback up to 5-star on Heisman difficulty is the most difficult thing I've ever done. But that's what I'd say. I think the high school's fun. I think the execution on the scenarios and stuff could be better. Also, I'd want to play the full end of the game and high school playoffs. I would want to see that in the game where you could do scenarios in that too. So I would say,
Agreed.
love that they brought the high school back. I'm not a fan of the execution of that with some of the scenarios. That's just my opinion, though. What about you?
Look, you kind of hit the nail on the head, kind of where I'm going with this. I think it is definitely an upgrade over last year. Look, I'll just say overall for this game, this game had the impossible task of beating 10 years of expectations and then beating the nostalgia on top of that. Last year could get kind of a pass. It was a college football game. It was good. I'm not going to say decent because that's disrespectful. It was a good football game. But nostalgia could have certainly played a factor. This was the year you really had to prove yourselves. And I think overall they've done that. And that it's things like this. They took the road to glory that was not really a road to glory, like you said, just bare bones. And they went and they put a lot of time and a lot of effort into it to upgrade it and make it a completely different experience than it was last year. But like you said with the high school moments, my big thing that I noticed, I started a couple different road to glories at a couple different positions just to see kind of what I liked. Um, but yeah, my biggest issue, one, if I am playing a position that is not quarterback, even quarterback, I do not personally, I don't want to call my own plays. If I'm playing running back, I don't want to call the offense. If I'm playing corner, I don't want to call the defense. I'm just the corner. I just want to play corner. I don't want to be defensive coordinator as well. I'll go play a dynasty if I want to call defensive plays. Just give me the plays. And I think the thing that bothers me so much about that is in college, the coach still calls the play. So I don't know why that was a change in the high school mode. When you're again, maybe if you're quarterback, sure. But I don't know. I don't love that. But also with the moments, like you said, with quarterback kind of calling your own plays and kind of setting things up, you can kind of do some stuff with your moments and try and meet your moments. But I think it's really, really hard as a corner, I noticed, Uh, like there will be a drive, and you get those special moments that you can do just for one team that'll help boost your rating for just one team. I got one from Notre Dame as a corner. Get an interception. That's all I had to do on the drive. A 10-play drive and the ball doesn't come my direction one time. I get it. I actually played decent corner, and that's why they didn't throw the ball my direction. But now Notre Dame doesn't want to recruit me because I played such good corner that they didn't even dare throw the ball in my direction.
Exactly.
Um, so I get moments where it's like, because I want to get the interceptions. You want to add that to your stat sheet and to the highlight tape. I get that. Have the game throw the ball. My moment should be one play, ball's thrown at me. I got to make the coverage, got to make the play. So there are a lot of, and there are just a lot of moments like that, especially at corner. That's get a pass breakup, get an interception. Okay, but the ball has to come to me. I can't spend a whole drive doing nothing. The way I kind of cheese some of those is some of those will be get a tackle for loss, a pass breakup, or an interception. And I would just run corner blitz the whole drive until I got a tackle for loss. And that's not, I mean, sure, I got my highlight film, but that's not really playing corner or playing the game. But that's the only way I get anybody to want to offer me a scholarship. So I agree with you. I think the moments isn't a neat idea for those who don't want to play full high school games when you're talking about the investment it's going to be to play full college games in a potential 4 years at that. So it already is a big investment in time. I get that. But I think the moment should be a little bit more specialized towards the player. If you want me to get an interception, then the ball needs to come for me. You want me to get a rushing touchdown, then put me in a situation where I can get a rushing touchdown. Because that's another thing at running back. There's no guarantee that on the drive that I'm on, I'm going to get a rushing touchdown or get a stiff arm or whatever. So I think it's a good idea, but maybe a little bit more specialized situations. Maybe one or two plays, or like a 2 minute. I like the 2 minute drill where it's like play the 2 minute drill. I
That's
get that
awesome.
being
I love
full.
that.
Yeah, I get that being a full drive. But when you want me to get an interception or a pass breakup or a rushing touchdown, put me in those situations. Get me set up and just like a 1-2 play, bang, bang situation. Because that's what I think of because the whole thing is like making highlights for your film. So it's really, to me, that should be just one play anyway. You got one play to make it or break it.
Absolutely. That was my thing. That's something again with quarterback people, the amount of people who have to get goals done at the quarterback position, and then you'll watch them make a throw and they're literally telling the player not to score because it's not going with the goal of the drive. And so, yeah, I think again, the high school edition's great. I think you just need to kind of change the scenarios for it. If you do that next year with the high school and its scenarios like you hinted at, what I think is a great idea, then it's a top notch. Then I think it's like, wow, okay, this is fun. And I was kind of critical. They didn't really add much to the college level of it, but at the same time, they already had a pretty good foundation, I think, with the college level with what they had. So I kind of understood them just being like, hey, let's focus on adding in high school. That can be something new. We'll leave college as it is. So I get that with it, but absolutely, I'm right with you. Fix those scenarios and make it where, you brought it up with corner. If you're a lockdown corner, make one of the goals where prevent your receiver from 50 yards receiving on the drive or 20 yards receiving. Something where, you're going to get rewarded for locking down a corner. Maybe not getting an interception, but doing your position well. Just like if I'm a receiver, I don't know if the quarterback's going to throw my way every single play. I don't know that for a fact. I might be wide open down the side for a touchdown and he throws a check down. So it's just simple things like that I think can make the road to glory better for next year. But again, they added high school into it, which is something people wanted. So I think that's got to count for some points.
Yeah, and look, I love the presentation. The being able to pick your top 10 teams and to trim the list down and then the hat selection. I think all of that stuff is honestly phenomenal and great. I had fun with the presentation. I had fun with the hat selection. I did about 10 fake outs before I picked my hat. Just get the crowd on their toes. But yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. Like I said, it is an improvement from last year. And with the college experience, like you said, they didn't change it too much. It's pretty much the same. The thing I wish is there was some way. I don't now for this I don't have an idea off the top of my head, but I wish they could kind of change the weekly agenda system. To me a little bit. I don't like getting 6 skill points, but everything costs two. It's like I don't know. I get you can't do everything in a week, but could skill points at least like represent, I don't know, something a little bit more? I wish there was a better way to kind of almost like with recruiting, maybe even where you can designate so many points to certain things. Because
Certain
I don't,
hours within a week, like you have a certain amount of
yeah,
hours to put into this and
e-
to that.
exactly. Because it's not as straightforward as just studying 2 times and then watching film, and then that's all you do for a week. If that's all you're doing as a student athlete, you're not gonna pass your classes or be ready for games. I get it that maybe you don't want it to be demanding, but to me, I can't do like I like to get my grades up. I'd like to be able to graduate early, and then my last year of playing, if I come back, is just playing football. And I want to obviously stay academically eligible, but I hate that if I'm spending that much time on athletics, I can't develop my player outside of the practice and the games. I can't spend the extra points. I can't spend the time on the training. And there are definitely sacrifices, don't get me wrong, but to make it seem like it's that simple, I think I just don't love how minuscule it is.
I would definitely agree with that. But again, it's sort of a step in the right direction. We'll see what they do for year three. Again, this is kind of if you read their blogs whenever they were doing the previews for this, they always said this is year two of the next step for like this is the second year of us building it up. Which speaking of year two and building up, let's get into this next one that I think we can both agree is a major step up from college football 25, and that's dynasty mode. Um,
Yes.
there is so many. Let's just get out of there right now. The amount of quality of life changes that they have made into dynasty mode is ridiculous. I could go on and on about those. Let's address the thing that everyone's wondering about. Transfer portal is the most insane thing I've ever seen in a video game in my life. In any sports video game I've seen ever, that was like the most eye-popping thing I've seen in a long time. There's so many quality of life improvements to Dynasty from college football 26 that weren't there in 25. And so it shows they listen to us. And to me, personally, at least to me, it has made Dynasty even more fun to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about the basics when you're doing your recruitment. We talked about this beforehand, but just being able to see your team needs at all time and them constantly changing throughout the season based on, where guys stand. I know I had some positions open up when guys hit their full red meter. It was like, okay, this guy looks like he's going to hit the transfer portal after this year. Here you go. I've got another team need, and it's all right there. I'm not Gosh, I hated clicking down the right stick 100 times, resetting me where I was. It's all right there. I know where I am. I can find my guys. I can get the job done. It's just that simple. It's just that easy. Um, Man, that's been such a blessing. But to me, you talked about it with the transfer portal. It's I love it or hate it in real life. They've hit the nail right on the head. So many guys hit the portal. It's so tough to convince guys to stay around. I've just had a blast so far in my first few years in my main dynasty, just figuring it out. And look, recruiting feels a little bit more realistic. Not every big name guy wants to go to a big name school. Some of these guys want to go, it will take a chance at a smaller school because they get the chance to play. At Akron, my first year, unproven as a team, I got a 4-star quarterback to commit. A lot of the big quarterback guys had gone early in the recruiting cycle. And, I was able to challenge a couple of those teams that were maybe trying to feel him out as like a second or third or fourth string kind of guy. and he came along. And so I like that it feels a little bit more realistic in the recruiting and the transfer portal. Like you said, just so many changes. The trophy room, awesome. The history where they keep track of who wins the championships, who wins the awards. And it's more in depth than I thought it was going to be. It's every award has its history. So yeah, it adds a lot of depth. Play 15 years in the sim and you can go back and see how the big key moments of every one of those seasons. So I agree. I think they made a lot of big changes that make the game even make me want to spend even more time sitting in front of my TV playing.
I'll agree, and I'll counter your point. You talked about high school recruiting. I'll counter that with the portal and stuff. The thing I that makes it better again, whether you like it or not for your dynasty, guess what? They have the settings. If you want to get rid of the transfer portal completely, you can do that in your own dynasty. If you want to make it the hardest thing in the history of everything to keep players around, they're gonna you can make it that way. So that's the one thing I do love. The customization with the wear and tear with that are things I really like. And again, I love is when I'm at Hawaii, I could have 88 overall quarterback who may have his deal breaker as playing time at A plus. Guess what? If I'm at Hawaii, he's going to want to go move up to the next level because he's shown what he could do at that level. So whether you love that or not, that's where we're at in college sports right now. So I think especially the transfer portal, they hit the nail right on the head. Is it frustrating for people? This is all the memes that you saw last year of people talking about transfer portal. Those are all coming true in the game this year. And that's something I think that's really kind of a nice touch with it. Um, Trophy room, top notch. I agree with you. It's every single trophy. I've gotten a lot from my Hawaii Dynasty. I've enjoyed being able to look back on it. And the one thing that's just so subtle with it that I like, not only will it tell me who I beat, but what the score was of the games. Just something they
Yeah.
add in there. So it's like, if I beat a team 56-55 in a thrilling game, then it's going to pop up there and say it. If I beat a team 63-10 or something like that, it's going to pop up there. So like, I remember that was the game, Julian Lewis threw 4 touchdowns. I made that one great. It's nice to think on. And, you brought up just having the real life stats to look back on. And I'll add another point in there the coaching, having the real life coaches it is so fun at the end of the year to look at the staff moves and just see what the real life coaches do. Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss for Washington in mind. And I was like, there is no way in the entire world Lane Kiffin would leave Ole Miss for Washington. But it's fun. Steve Sarkisian left Texas to be the head coach at Michigan at one point. I mean, that was
Wow.
it's a fun it adds so much immersion and so much fun to it. Uh, Absolutely. Dynasty. Look, I played a crap ton of Dynasty last year. I played so much Dynasty. It was probably the main game mode. But it has somehow gotten even better this year, which is something I think a lot of fans are loving with it. Whether you love or hate the transfer portal, how much they've increased it. Again, they have added so much customization for how you want to do it. And that includes wear and tear. If you want to hit someone and that hit could cause a season-ending injury or something like that, you can make the wear and tear affect that. If you don't want wear and tear at all, you can get rid of it. They're letting us make our dynasties how we want to, and that to me is the biggest win of it all.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that that's awesome. So much customization. Look, it doesn't necessarily just apply to Dynasty, but when we talk about the trophy room, I'm glad they brought it back from the older games. The last thing we're missing as far as those little things, keeping track of every little thing you do, game rank. Look, I missed it last year. Please bring back game rank. It is so awesome to look back on all the games you've played and all the great games in any game mode that you've played and keep track of it. That was one thing I loved about getting together and doing NCAA tournaments on NCAA 14 is seeing you play a thriller. Where does that rank in our all-time games we've played on the game rank? So I know, like you said, they talk about it being, year two of, building this thing up. Hopefully that's something we can get in year three, is game rank. I don't know, something to me about seeing that game rank and seeing where it ranks all time. Just a blast.
And you also got to remember they in NCAA 14, they not only let you look at the game rank, you could make clips out of it if you wanted. So like if you won on a game-winning 2-point conversion, you could find that clip and add in there. It's like, I remember that 2-point play call, or I remember that miracle 40-yard touchdown with 10 seconds left, or that big interception on the goal line that won me the game. Absolutely. I think that's something they can look to add and make it even better for the future there. But Austin, let's get to this next part. We talked about our dynasty opinions, but now you've hinted at it a little bit. Let's talk about our dynasties. If you have not been paying attention, ladies and gentlemen, we went through a whole 3-week phase of narrowing down the list for who our first rebuilds were going to be in college football 26. Now, at the end, this man went with the Akron Zips. So before we talk about mine, how is the rebuild of the team who, as we learned, is the lowest overall in the game? How is the rebuild going in Akron?
Yeah, had I obviously had a look at the overalls, I might have had a little bit of a change of heart with what I did, but I did not run from the grind once I found that out. I went ahead and I stuck around and I said, I'm going to stick to it. I'll stick to my word. I'm going to start this. And year one at Akron did not go well. And part of that started with having to find the right playbook that fits me, not necessarily the team, but fits me. Because I had a quarterback that could not throw a football to save his life. And he wasn't fast, particularly fast either. So he was like the worst of both worlds. But we carved out a 6-6 regular season after starting the season, I think 1-4. And then to go into our bowl game against Virginia Tech and get absolutely slaughtered and go 6-7 was gut-wrenching. But like I mentioned before, the saving grace of the entire season was that I landed a 4-star quarterback from high school, and he came along and he made a world of difference. He could do it all, and he carried my team to an 11-1 season in year two, where we never got ranked at all. And we won our bowl game. Gosh, we played the Bahamas Bowl against Liberty, 9-3 Liberty. And we won our big game, big time. And then I had a decision to make. As we came to the end of year two, I was received a job offer that, man, I just could not turn down for the life of me. Sam Pittman retired from the U of A after a 5-7 season. And I was being offered the keys to an SEC franchise. And with all of my best players entering the transfer portal, capitalizing on 11-1 season, including the star of the team freshman quarterback, I decided that it was best I take my talents elsewhere before I had to rebuild this entire roster again. So I took it to the U of A, and in the middle of my third season, we're 7-0, ranked number 14 in the country. Had a heck of a recruiting cycle from the transfer portal. So going really well in my dynasty perspective. Year one wasn't terrible. Definitely was a turnaround for Akron. But now I'm in the thick of the SEC, in the thick of my SEC play, trying to capitalize year one up in Fayetteville.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a turnaround it is in Akron to go to the SEC. For those of you who wondered, don't worry. Part of the deal was Hunter Yurchek had to be gone for him to get that job.
Yes.
Because I don't think any person would want to go work for Hunter Yurchek on that. So,
yeah, not me. Not me, that's for sure.
You'd rule me out with that. That is something I remember a screenshot. I was like, man, Sam Pittman getting fired from Arkansas? No, I'd never seen that before in real life. That's what happened in my dynasty with my team, where he actually became the head coach at Utah after that. And then coached Utah for 1 year, went 6-6. Huh, ironic, huh? And then he retired in the offseason. I'm like, that is honestly something I could see Sam Pittman doing if he did. Yeah. If he did get fired, go 1 year at the school and be like, you know what? I'm good. But anyway, my dynasty, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. I didn't look at the team ratings whenever I first got on the game and stuff. So I was like, let me load up Dynasty, see what it is, how it's going to be with my roster. And it was fun. I logged on, I was like, let me go look at the roster, just to see. Within my first look, I was at risk of losing my entire running back room tight end room, O line, defensive tackle, linebacking core, and over half my corners to the portal. I hadn't even played a freaking game yet, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't even recruited a single kid, and I was already at risk of losing all that. That was really when my eyes popped like, wow, I have got work and I have to do here. The one thing that I did not know, was not aware of, a transfer quarterback by the name of Demarcus Davis is at Hawaii, a 79 overall freshman. That was a blessing and a half to have. Because I just remember I was like, is this a glitch? And then I looked it up. He's a transfer, I think, from Cal or something, I think is what it was. That's going to be playing at Hawaii this year. So, although he was wearing number 20, so it was like watching Shea Patterson when he wore like 22 as my
Yeah.
starting quarterback. But anyway, the first year, I am not going to lie to you. I didn't mess with the schedules because I wanted to keep it real to life, with what the schedule is. Um, wow, that schedule is terrible. Hawaii might be in for a good year this year, ladies and gentlemen. Took on Stanford at home, was able to beat them, not very good. Went to Arizona. That was one where I was like, that was legit the only game in the regular season where I was like, okay, I can lose this one and we'll see. Noah Fafita makes some of the worst throws I've ever seen. Throws 3 interceptions in the first quarter, and I'm up 21 nothing in the blink of an eye on Arizona. I'm like, what just happened here? And then, I ended up winning, I think like 30-21 was the final and stuff. So managed to hang on there. We go through the rest of conference season. I'm going to be honest with you, conference was a breeze, except for Sam Houston. I will not go through the details of that game because it is the most insane game I've ever played in my entire life. I sent this man the message at like midnight. I was like, dude, I just played the game of the year and I'm going to bed. I got no more energy after that.
Yeah.
Let's just say I was down by 13 with 3 minutes left and I won in regulation by a singular point 56-55. Man, it was stressful. Went through the regular season undefeated, played Boise State in the conference championship on the blue field. And that's when we ran into a good team. Boise State whipped our butts. We made it close at the very end, but we were too far behind at that point to make a rally. Won our bowl game, solid first year, building up some guys in the portal, some 3 stars wanting to come. Next year, we go 10-2, and we lose one game out of conference to Arizona State. And then who did we lose our second game to? We lost to San Jose State in conference play. That's what it was. San Jose State pulled off the shocker against us late in the season. And I also did something in this. I made the real life adjustments of moving the teams from the Mountain West to the Pac-12, and teams that were moving into the Mountain West, I added them in. So that was something. But nonetheless, won the conference championship, got my revenge over San Jose State in the conference championship, won the bowl game. But the one thing I was playing with Demarcus Davis, great runner, great running quarterback. His accuracy was just not there. So I went into the portal. I was like, you know what? Let's see what's available. There's something intriguing. We will go, we'll go in that direction and we'll, make a move after, a quarterback or some. And then Austin, as you know, he popped up on my screen. The man, the myth, the legend. I think Jermaine Lewis, I think, or Jeremiah Lewis, I think is the name. I'm trying to remember. What was the name? Was it Jeremiah Lewis or Jermaine? The one that just committed to Colorado.
Julian?
Julian.
Is it Julian?
Wow, I was not even close on that. That was just off the top of my brain. Julian Lewis, thank you. He was in the portal and was number 1 on our board. And I looked at his stats. He had not been playing at Colorado. So his thing was literally playing time. We had A+ playing time. And I literally went all in on the kid, was second on the board. And at the very last second, made a hard sell, knowing I needed kind of a miracle to get him, and stole him away from USC. You didn't get him, USC. He came to the island in Hawaii. And ever since then, it's been a ride. First year with him, we make the playoff. We get blown out by Clemson. Year 2 with him there, we beat LSU in round 1, get humiliated by USC. Then he's planning to enter the draft, as is my 94 running back. But I somehow convinced both of them to stay for one more year. And now we we made the playoffs. We destroyed Miami in the first game, destroyed Oklahoma in the second, and beat Louisville by 40 in the semifinals. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are taking on Ole Miss for the national championship of Hawaii. Now, there's the hindsight because I told this man about it. That was our only loss in the regular season. We went to Oxford, played Ole Miss. I got tackled on the 3-yard line with no timeouts left in the final seconds. Couldn't get another playoff, and we lost. Heartbreaking. We're looking to get revenge and close out the Julian Lewis era with a national championship. So that's our updates on our dynasties. Whew. I'm getting ready for the second one. I'm hoping I can clinch this natty tonight and sleep good. So we will see how that goes. But any ideas for your second dynasty, Austin?
My second dynasty. Well, I have already kind of started messing with the second dynasty. I've started it. I haven't played it yet. But I went ahead and started a Notre Dame dynasty. I thought it'd be interesting to see what I could do with Notre Dame this year, kind of a gauntlet of a schedule for them this year. Yeah. See if I can return them back to the national championship. And then my thoughts are kind of messing around with the transfer portal, seeing if maybe we can recruit an interesting big name quarterback out of the transfer portal. Nothing against CJ Carr or Kenny Michi, but their ratings in the game are not exactly where I'd like them to be, and they're not quite on par with the rest of the Notre Dame roster.
So that's funny. So USC was who I lost to. You'll never guess who their quarterback was.
Kenny Michi.
CJ Carr. He was their quarterback. Yeah. He kicked our butt. He was throwing some dimes. I can't lie. So for mine, it's most likely going to be Arkansas, but I can't lie and say I'm not intrigued to do a Virginia Tech one here soon for obvious reasons. If you know, you know, ladies and gentlemen, which we haven't even touched on. Enter Sandman in the presentation of the game, Austin. Somehow it got even better presentation-wise.
Yeah, and I just noticed, as you're playing the game, and they talked about this with Enter Sandman and everything else. They've gone out of their way to get like a lot of teams' sounds that they play on the field for third downs and stuff. I was playing at South Carolina earlier today, and constant rooster crows every third down over the loudspeaker. So yeah, they tried to really build up those campus atmospheres and that stadium pulse and make it so much more realistic than it already was. So yeah, they went way above and beyond with the presentation. Obviously, at the forefront of that being Enter Sandman, probably the biggest addition to the game.
Absolutely. But, ladies and gentlemen, we've done our talk on it. It is time for the official rating. I do not remember off the top of my head what you said. I want to say you did an 86 or an 87 last year. And I think I said so. 80. I think I said 88, maybe 87, 88, somewhere around there. We were very similar in our agreement. But, Austin, on a scale of 0 to 100, what are you giving College Football 26 for your rating?
Well, like I said earlier, this game had the impossible task of following up the most anticipated sports video game of all time. And I think it did so wonderfully. I don't think there's a single area in this game you look and say it is not improved from last year. From Road to Glory to Dynasty to the presentation to the trophy room. They've taken every precaution. They've made every effort to make every aspect of the game different, going as far as changing the music in the menu at the beginning of the game.
Music's a dub. Music is a dub.
Yes. Not just constant drums any longer, which is good. Some of us were starting to lose our sanity. But I think this game does everything last year's game does and makes it better. I'm going to give this game a 92 rating. I really love this game, and I think it followed up well. It was a big talk that we had about this was the true test for this franchise and how it was going to go. And me personally, I think this is a better game. This was improvement and even more effort into making fans' dreams come true. Not blinded by nostalgia any longer. Purely about making the game And I think they've knocked it out of the park on this one.
Absolutely. So for mine, uh, you know, I gave it a high praise last year. I loved all of it. And the game modes that I played the most, I felt they got improved in the gameplay factor when it comes to doing the jump balls. I think Dynasty got so much better there. Again, my only thing that I really have any issue with, that there's any, again, would probably be Road to Glory. That can be some fixes for next year or something that hopefully they learn from. But overall, the end, I'm going to give it a 90 on the dot. I'm going to give it a 90. I love playing the game. I've been playing it every single chance I've had free time to be able to do it. And it's brought me so much fun playing with the Dynasty, playing the gameplay, uh, just having a good time with the game. And ladies and gentlemen, all you people out there that are critiquing it, that you are trying to tell people don't buy this, it's not good. Don't You don't need to go and do that to people. There are people that may love this game. There are people that may hate it. And guess what? If you hate it, it isn't made for you. It's not made for
Agreed.
you, and you can find another game to play for your entertainment purposes. But you don't need to go out of your way to try to ruin this game for other people. That's something I've seen a lot on social media with this talk. Uh, but I'm having a great time with it. So,
Yeah, this game's been a hoot. It's been a blast. Like I said, I think it's better than last year. If you don't like the game, so be it. Go play your garbage Madden games and your garbage NBA 2K games, where you have to pay to do literally anything. Um, and we talked about, I think we talked about EA getting the licensing for the college basketball games on here in a previous episode. Did you see 2K's idea?
yeah, I want to
Talk
say I'm
about
surprised, and
fraud.
I want to say I'm surprised, but I'm not.
No, it's not a surprise. It's just fraud, scam, and greed. People should be arrested for that kind of greed. Ronnie 2K should be in jail for that kind of greed. It should be illegal to say, sure, we're thinking about a college basketball game, but you have to pay for it. It's going to be a DLC to NBA 2K, and you only get 16 of the teams. Shut
And
up.
it's an ultimate team. It's not, you have to go in the ultimate team to do it as well.
Just shut up. Who decided to make Ronnie 2K the spokesperson for anything? I just it's sad. It really is sad how 2K's ruined their image. I saw somebody celebrating this. They're like, I don't want EA to have exclusive licensing for the college basketball game. Why? Have you not seen the care and effort that they put into the college football games? Why would you not want that company at the forefront of a college basketball game? Why would you want the greedy, evil people at 2K to have anything to do with a college basketball game? They will kill that game faster than anything. It'll never get off the ground if the college basketball game is led by Ronnie 2K.
So very valid point. For those of you talking about, yeah, it's a DLC. You pay $15 for, and it would be only available in Ultimate Team. So, yeah, I was very disappointed to see that. Yeah, this is for college sports only. For Madden, however, this is a totally different thing. They need to release that license, which I don't know if you heard
Yeah.
that about that as well, about EA getting the exclusive license for Madden for the foreseeable future. It seems like, or for NFL video games. I don't know if you've heard much
They,
about that.
they, I haven't. I thought that it was coming up soon, their agreement, and I didn't know if it was getting, there's questions about its extension or not.
So get this. So I follow someone, Eric Rayweather. He keeps up with it. He told me, not me personally, but he posted on Twitter saying EA was not going to sign it. That they were going to save money and kind of try to let there be competition. Save their money and not be that exclusive, so they don't have to just sell hard into that and can make other games. But the NFL wanted them to do it. So all this time that
Interesting.
we're complaining at the EA Sports about the game and stuff, yes, obviously still they hadn't made adjustments to it in a long time. But when the NFL sees that, it's like, yeah, let's sign you again. Let's sign you again. That's part of the problem right there with it too. So that's a disappointment. But as far as the college game, I'm with you. The amount of presentation that they do for that game and the care they take for it, they have a great setup with college football video game. Obviously, it'll be different. but there are so many things you can take from that and add to it and make it an awesome game.
And just hearing about the game, how are you not drooling at the mouth at the fact that not just all the men's teams are going to get in the game, all the women's teams are going to get in the game. They're representing everybody. They're putting together this huge game. It sounds like a hit. I can't believe people are already against EA having exclusive rights before they even get before we even get anywhere with the game. Game hasn't even come out and people are complaining about it.
And the one thing I showed you that they're talking about, they probably might not do a yearly release, which is something me and you have been begging for from sports games for a while, is give us a small update that we can pay for rosters, and you continue to make a new game over the next couple of 2 years. That's something me and you have asked for a while, and that seems to be what they might be doing with the college basketball game.
Yeah, hopefully. And again, we kind of talked about it when that came out. It'd be a great kind of trial ground because, you're not running the risk of, ruining the Madden franchise or ruining the college football games that have already got you off to a great start. Now you can start with a new franchise that people are going to hopefully, well, I said that beforehand. Now, obviously, it doesn't seem quite that way, but you hope people give it a little leeway to kind of grow and develop as a game, and people kind of take a chance on it. I don't know how, as the consumer of video games, even if it's just sports video games, with the constant, pretty much non-stop rising price of video games right now, that you would not be intrigued by a potential system where you could pay so much less for a game. I mean, right now, it's the reason I stopped buying 2K games. They've put out the same game for the last 5 years. I've stopped buying it. Why buy it? I'll update the roster on 2K24 for the next 10 years, and I'll be playing the same game. And I'll have more licensing to more players because when players retire, they're just not even trying to get rights to players anymore. So why play my eras?
Yeah, that includes that goes along with the same thing as Madden again. It's been similar along those lines too. So absolutely, but we'll see what that can do. But those are our official reviews. That is going to wrap up this episode of the Bold Take Podcast. You've heard our thoughts on the game. What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. What's your rating of 0 to 100? Let us know. And ladies and gentlemen, we're getting closer and closer to everyone's favorite season. It is football season. We're getting closer to it. It is actually, Austin, we are 17 days away from the first NFL game of the year. July 31st. July 31st is the Hall of Fame preseason game. We're getting NFL football in July, Austin.
I was going to say, that feels a little bit early.
I know. That's whatever I said. I forget who's playing. I think the Lions are playing. Who are the Lions playing? Lions and Chargers. That's who it is. Lions and Chargers on Thursday, July 31st. So get a nice little preview of it. It'll just be nice to have some sort of football on, let alone in July like that. So we're getting closer, ladies and gentlemen. But let us know your thoughts on college football 26. We're going to keep on rocking our dynasties, and I hope y'all do as well. But that's going to do it for us here at the Bold Take Podcast. That's Austin Hill. I'm Austin Waiter, and we want to thank you for watching.